Beautiful catch you'll see in the playground.
And now we welcome on Shady. I say very special quite often, but this time I truly mean it. This is a very special guest we have on the podcast today. Welcome on Shotta. I mean, I don't know what else to call you. Denesh Ramdin, welcome to Dropped Again. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Very good to have you. We see you have your hands full. Just before we came on, your son was trying to get your attention, so I see you have your hands full these days.
Yeah, busy with the three kids. It's all fun. It's all good. They're my joy and happiness at this point in time. They have school tomorrow, so one of them needs to go to bed shortly. So he doesn't go to bed without me. So I told him, give me a few minutes, he'll be there.
Well, hey, first you got to respect that. He's putting Dropped Again ahead of his kids right now. So that, we got to give all the respect to Denesh Ramdin on that.
Yeah, man. And also he's celebrating a birthday a few days ago, or was it yesterday or the day before?
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. So just happy birthday, bro. I know I sent you a message and I thought.
Yeah, man. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I thought let's get the young fellow on the podcast, and I think a lot of our fans would love to hear from you. And first of all, bro, tell us about your nickname, bro. How did you get the nickname Shotta?
2004, 2005, we were playing a 50 over cup in Barbados, Trinidad versus Guyana, and we were under pressure, chasing 230 yard. We haven't won the 50 over regional title for a long period of time. And we were a few wickets down, and we're just like, I need to do something special in this game. So I just went out and played a shot a ball. I had a 40 yard in quick time. And, it was a game changer. And everyone was like, those shots you played, it was real big man shots, and you'll take us, you deserve to go to the next level, da-da-da. And one of the name just stuck with me, Shotta.
So it was kind of career changing. So how old were you at that time?
I was 18 going to 19, around there. Yeah. And that name stuck with me. Some other guys call me Shoppy because I keep the Shotta. There's now they call me old statesman. How played so long in the game now, you share that experience. So I'm happy to, whichever team I'm playing, give that experience, not just only in the team that I'm playing, but, if any other player comes up at me, what do you think I should do to get to the next level? How did I play today? What you see in my bowling, and I'm happy, not just in Trinidad, but, being a lot more in the US, I'm free to share that knowledge with everyone.
But that's one of those nicknames that you like having. Because there's always those nicknames that come from a bad story, and you're like every
mine?
time, yeah. But I want to ask you, because that 2004 or 2005 time, that's also when you made your West Indies debut. I believe 2005 was your debut.
Yeah.
Going into a West Indies team that includes the likes of Brian Lara, Shiv Chanderpaul, Ramnaresh Sarwan, all these legends of West Indian cricket. And here's this young kid, 19, 20 years old, ready to take the gloves for the West Indies. Tell me what was going through your mind at that point, walking into that dressing room.
It was quite. I was a bit nervous, but just being in the dressing room was really special, and that tour to Australia was even tougher because playing against Australia in Australia, they're the powerhouse. Obviously, we are underdogs, and every time Brian has his meetings, he said, just keep believe in ourselves. Yeah, they're gonna come hard, but they're gonna come hard at him especially, and if everyone could chip in, because the pressure and the stress wouldn't be on the rest of the batters. So it's important that we chip in, and if he doesn't make, the rest of the guys chip in and contribute towards the team effort. But being in a dressing room with those guys, so many numbers behind them, the Gill, Chanderpaul, Lauer, the Sarwans, those guys, they have helped me a lot, not just only in cricket, but off the field as well, in terms of being a better person, being humble, also life outside of cricket, which is most important, which I've learned very, very, very early in my career, of I was happy to have a lot of dinners and talks with a guy like Ramnesh Sawan who mentored me, I would say.
I think for me, like just real quick, RC is like for you that must have been. I kind of want to say like you were almost prepped for that because I guess when you were 18, like we were playing under 19 cricket together, and you were this, had this huge stature, and were obviously destined to go into this next dressing room. So you were kind of almost prepared for that. But I think that's why you were able to get a shot early on, is because of that maturity level that you were obviously showing and obviously performing as well. But I couldn't imagine going from one form of cricket where you're kind of almost, I would say, the Lara of that age group, and then all of a sudden going into a dressing room where you'd definitely be very nervous.
Yeah, 2004, the under 19 World Cup in Bangladesh, where we lost in the final. Yeah. It was heartbreaking. I take responsibility and blame for that. Getting out in the final at a very crucial time. But I think that was a big learning step for me, having the responsibility of the captain and getting to the finals. Beating England in the semi-finals was a big one for us in terms of, they dominated the tournament along with India, and those two powerhouses got knocked out, and ourselves and Pakistan. So myself, Ravi Rampal, Xavier Marshall, Tishan Maraj, a lot of those guys went on to play a lot of first-class cricket, and then Kishmar Santoki to represent West Indies. And we are still close. We are still good friends. That group of guys, I mean, we have like 6 or 7 that represented West Indies, which we were proud of. And it was just a really nice bunch of guys who just went out there and enjoyed ourselves and said, look, we're doing it for the Caribbean people. We give our best, and that's all we could have given to the Caribbean people. But still at the back of our mind, we could have beaten Pakistan.
Hey, who was the dressing room clown in that 2004 under-19 team? Who was the clown in that dressing room?
Who is it? I would say Asad Furuddin, always trying to do something crazy.
Yeah. He's that would be my. I don't agree. I don't argue with that one.
Always playing.
I said if his brother is his brother's the same, so I would imagine Assad is the same as well. I want to ask you about that because you became a keeper, a very successful keeper, arguably the most successful West Indies keeper over the history, and we'll get into stats a little bit and talk a little bit about that. But I read that you started out as a fast bowler. Is that correct?
No, you didn't read properly. It's gentle, medium, leading up to fast bowling. they missed a few words in there.
Well,
that's Ram Paul.
Yeah. But so what I read was, okay, gentle. I mean, that's what I bowled, so that's completely fine. But you got too bored in the field when you weren't bowling, so you decided keeping was a better option.
Yeah, one game we were playing, I was just, trying some gentle, getting the shine off it, and then Ravi came in, first change, and then we have a good leg spinner who, spins the ball a lot, and we were a keeper who was just, juggling and missing a lot of opportunities in the back. And I decided, look, why try my hand at it. And the first game I had like 4 stumpings, couple catches. I find it was super cool, being behind the wicket, stumping all these guys, I'm making fun of them. And I never looked back. I said, look, I'll stick by it. And I never regret being a keeper.
Hey, so how much did you enjoy the trash talking side of things? And tell us a little bit about how you kind of established yourself in that department as a wicket keeper. Were you more of a encouraging keeper behind the stumps? There wasn't that many stump mics back when you first started. How did that sort of progress when you came into international cricket? And talk to us a little bit about what that element is.
Yeah, obviously playing against Australia, they come up to you and like, this little boy doesn't belong at this big man level. This is big man cricket. You're going to get knocked over by Brett Lee. It's one ball for you. You're not going to sweat in your gloves. You're not going to have your pass the sun out. You're going to go back, puck it up. It's going to remain really nice and whatever. And a big guy like Andrew Simon comes up to you, just look at you and be like, you don't say anything. Then they have Matthew Hayden as they always, give you some little cheap talk. But at the end of the day, that's how they play cricket. They're really tough. They want you to not to do well against them, but if you do well, they say, "Well played, buddy. Good job.
All right,
Good knock. If you get 5 wickets, whatever." But yeah, I think playing against Australia team that year against England, not too long after, and then South Africa, the type of players that they have. I mean, I think I've played against the best set of players in that era. I think it has become easier now. Players don't say much, and then if they do, they just complain to the umpires, which I think is there's not much in it. Just going to bat. No one is talking. They come to bat, and there's no fun in it.
We've lost a little bit of that spice, I think, even with I hate the man-cad rule and just all those kind of rules of, before, like if you went and told the umpire you're kind of a rat and you're going to get it even more. But now it's a way to kind of escape those things. So we were talking about it earlier, just this new generation is very, very, very sensitive. So you got to be careful these days.
I mean, you have to be, sometimes you're in a dressing room and some of your own teammates, you have to be wary of what you say, like just a little joke, or you move their bag, or you try to hide their bats or something like that. And they get very antsy and fishy. Like
that's a generation now. I mean, I think that goes without saying. I want to talk a little bit. Our show is called Dropped Again, Denesh.
Dropped again.
Dropped again. Okay, and
the reason I was
that's not the dropped. That's not the dropped I'm talking about. I want to talk to you about being dropped because it sucks, but it does happen to everybody, right? Yeah. You got dropped a couple of times in your career. I want to talk about the time in 2010 when you first got dropped from the team, because you had just come off 166 against England, which is 169. 166. I was right the first time, which at the time was the second highest test score. It still is second highest test score by a West Indies keeper. And you also averaged 113 in the 4-day regional comp, but then you lost your central contract. Talk to me about that time. How tough was that for you? Because you were only, 25, 26 at that time, and then losing a central contract?
Yeah, it was very tough. I mean, when you at that level and you get some sort of success, you just want to continue to play and build on it. There's good times and there's bad times. I guess at the time I probably wasn't felt by the selectors. I was doing a job with the bat. I mean, a keeper in this day and age, you need to perform with the bat, probably average close to 40. And it was tough. Went back to first class cricket, got some runs, and I just tried to make my bat talk as much as possible. So I think sometimes you take things for granted a little bit. I think I have done that in my career from time to time, thinking, there's no one there, I can just go through the motion at times. But being through all these ups and downs, I have not regretted it. It made me stronger now, so I can impart this knowledge into younger players, younger generation, not just only in Test cricket, T20, 50 over format, whichever, and not just only cricket, off the field as well in terms of academics, whichever other sport someone chooses to play. I believe it's more mental than physical. If you're mentally strong enough, it's not going to be a bed of roses all the time. I listened to Usain Bolt said he trained 4 years to run 9 seconds. Some people train for 6 months and there's no results, and they just throw in the towel or pack up the bag.
That's why you're like such an amazing guy and mentor for the guys. Like when we meet in the US, I know a lot of guys come and pick your brain, but the way you've kind of been able to, I think, be open to guys, like, some guys have a little bit of, ego on their chest or whatever, but you're always open, you're always joking around with the guys. And so that's why I always respected you and how, how open you were just to kind of get some of that knowledge out. So, you're also looking pretty fit there, bud. So,
I'm looking at your videos. Whatever you do, I try it on the
podcast. We'll try something in Houston, man. I'll try a little yoga.
I tried to play the VR cricket and I nearly pulled my hamstring, so let alone playing actual cricket these days. Look, we talked about you getting dropped, but I want to talk quickly about your comeback really quickly. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Against England, in England. You knew it was going to come up. And I've read the articles. I've read the articles where you said, with age you become wiser. You did regret it. But I just want to ask you, did you take that note out with you when you were on 0? Or did you to get it when you were like on like 90? Like when did that note get into the pocket?
Good question.
That was there before I went in the bat on 0. So I had it planned before.
Okay, so you knew that was motivation to saying, I'm going to...
Right.
That makes it way cooler. Okay, so Shotta, how many times did you have it in your pocket before it actually happened?
Actually, I didn't. We were playing a test match in Trent Bridge. And, from the dressing room area to the commentary booth, you walk on the field and go across. And I saw Viv there, chatting to Darren Bravo. And he's like, hey, come. It's like, okay, how are you? Yeah. He said, I didn't like, the way you got out, the approach. You walk to the crease. You need to look a bit like Kevin Peterson with this.
Chest out and thing.
Approach. When the bowlers see you, they feel intimidated. Said, okay, no problem. Good motivational speech, whatever. And then 10 minutes, he went to the commentary booth and he said, look, this guy needs to be dropped, blah, 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 blah. We need to get a younger keeper, a player. I was like, so I got back to my hotel. My friend back in Trinidad sent me. I was like, but he just gave me this big world speech on the field, and then he went to the commentary box and said this about me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to use this as motivation. So I went back to my hotel. Same night, write it down for the next test match, which was the last test match. And just like, what should I write? And I came up with that. And that test match, Sunil was making his debut, I believe. He came back on the IPL and he was like, I told him, I'm going to do something special this game. He's like, what stupidness you going to do? I was like, no, I'm going to do something special. He's like, you sure? I think it's something stupid. So I just kept it in my pocket, keep batting. And then on 70 odd, I was like, damn it, I'm not going to get this 100. But it was destined. Tino came. Tino was just having fun, hitting the ball all over the park. And, those guys, like, they forgot I was batting. So I was just chipping away. And when I looked up, I was on 90 odd. So I was like, there's no way I can give up a century here. And, I was on 90 odd and I, touched my pocket to make sure it was there. And I said, oh, it's still there. So I decided, look, where's the commentary booth here? And I go, it's that there. So, single, and, I just threw my helmet there, my gloves there, and I was like pointing towards, I did it. I didn't regret it. And I moved on.
Yeah. No, that's to hear it like that, it's like kind of cool. Like if that happened like now, like that was 10 whatever years ago plus. If that happened now, it would be like all over social media. You'd have like a million likes.
Yeah,
it would be
definitely
awesome. Yeah.
I mean, and after the game, Kevin Peter was like, I like you.
He rated that.
I read that. Tell him, bug off, man.
I think
you have feelings as well.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing, not the funniest, but the irony of it was, without anybody knowing the story, without anybody knowing what happened and the context behind it, everybody made it look like you were just disrespecting Viv, right, for what he did. It wasn't so much about like, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong based on what you said. That was what it was. But it was like, how are these young guys? They not know who Viv is? This and that. So I want to ask you.
Some of the commentators or the media, they took it the wrong way, as you were saying, in terms of trying to disrespect and bring the game into disrepute. But I wasn't really trying to do that. I used it as a motivation. And everyone does things in different ways. So, guys have done worse than that in test matches before. And
easily. I want to ask you, though, the first time you saw Viv after that, did you actually talk? Did you talk? Because you asked him to talk. Did you talk?
Yeah.
Must have had a laugh. Must have had a laugh.
We had a big hug, actually, in Antigua. He's like, let's go home for dinner. Let's have fun. He said, look, I said something to you, you scored a century. I should say 10 more things to you, and you should score 10 more centuries.
That's what you want, man. That's the best.
That's the best, yeah. That's what cricket's all about, man.
Yeah, I saw him in St. Kitts one year. We played golf together. So, yeah, it's all good.
I've got one more question for you on another big personality. I know we're coming up to time. I know your son's got to go to sleep. I want to ask you about another big personality, another big name, and that's Shah Rukh Khan. Tell me about the first time meeting Shah Rukh Khan. Because, I mean, look, any Indian, West Indian, or Indian, that's a big name. and now you're captain of the Trinbago Knight Riders and Shah Rukh Khan's. What's the feeling when he first walks into a room?
I was shocked, to be honest. You know, as a young kid looking at all his movies on television, and then hearing me playing with Knight Riders and hearing him, you know, flying in to watch a couple of games. And then, you know, one night we having a function, and then, you know, everyone was looking when he's gonna come, you know. And just, you know, just on TV he looks like super tall. And then there's this little guy, short guy, just walking into the room. I was like, is that him? So short. Okay. You know, he looks so simple. Just walking, speech, whatever, hi. You know, he knew all the players' names. You know, after the game, you know, he came into our dressing room a couple of times, say congratulations. He went around the entire dressing room and just shook everybody's hand, speak for like 5 seconds, chill, have something to eat with us. It was super meeting him, you know. It was just one of the coolest and most amazing things that happened to me. And then it was just unreal meeting him. And then my sister is 10 times more in love with him than me. So I just said, sir, my sister who lives in New York, she just likes to say hi. He said, okay, call her. So I call her and I said, okay, this is the phone. She couldn't believe it.
Oh, man. Hey, that's the kind of... He has the presence that Viv wants you to... He has the kind of presence that Viv wanted you to walk out to bat with. Everyone goes, oh, like, who's that?
Dinesh, the way we like to end our episodes is to give you the final word. You can thank anybody, you can give a shout out to anybody, but the final word is yours, my friend.
I'd just like to say thank you guys for having me on. It was awesome. Maybe we could do this again in the near future. As I said, I'm going to be up in the US a lot more, back and forth, and, you know, sharing my knowledge to all the players, or any player, particular player. I mean, growing up, we didn't have the knowledge that, or the type of players who played at that level, down at our level, to share that experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
And maybe to give us that extra, maybe to go forward. But we were a little bit fortunate to have guys like Ian Bishop, Keith Atherton, who played with our club, Crystal, a few years. So, you know, myself and Ravi Rampal in the dressing room, looking at these big guys, played for West Indies, you know, trying to learn a little bit, you know, how they put the shoes together, the part, the time they come to the game, when they leave, you know, what they do. I mean, those sort of things really pushed us to get to that next level. I mean, it was fantastic, and I hope to see you guys soon and share that with someone, you know, that who could really take that, probably not out of 10 words, maybe 2 words, to become a better person, a better sports person in years to come.
Pure class, brother. Pure class, man. Thank you.